Hello, Dave. What do you think about the event tonight? Do you like it?
It's very interesting. I've never seen so many people that are so ready to dance to new music that they haven't heard before. So I have to appreciate that.
And I must say that in your music there are the mixture of a lot of different kind of electronic styles like techno, trance and something like this. And do you think that there is the perspective of the collaboration between these styles in the future? I mean for the development of industrial?
Of course, if you want to say industrial music, it's kind of been contaminated for years. So there's different forms of what you call industrial. Most of it now is mixed with techno and trance, and I think it's good because I mean if your intention is to take it a step further and use different influences to make something that nobody's heard before, that's fine. You know, if you're just gonna copy somebody else, then that's kind of lame. But it's always good to use any kind of influence. I mean, I have many different influences from hardcore punk to Phil Collins and some Orbital and some Converter and TerraFact. TerraFact is very actually influential to my style of music. It helps that I also play live with TerraFact, and he's had quite an influence on my music.
Yes, and what can you say about the industrial scene in the United States? Is it well developed there? What projects can you name? What labels, bands, and? Oh,
it's you gotta watch out because the American scene is gonna come here and it's gonna kick butt. Because you know, there's a lot of talk about Europeans and Germany and all that, and watch out for Crunch Pod, Endif, Caustic will fuck you up, and yeah, TerraFact. There's no show that you've seen like a TerraFact show. It's very crazy. You'll have like 10 people on stage with sparks and just dancers and craziness, and it's like a big party. And there are a lot of cool acts. Alta Darun, which is a new Crunchpod band, and The Operative, which also he's marching dynamics for Hyman, and it's amazing what just comes out of this guy. You know, he's a cool guy. You have a beer with him, and it's like, you know, your best friend, and then like you hear the stuff, and you're like, wow, that guy was you. You know, it's really good stuff. So watch out for American bands. You know, we're gonna represent.
Thank you. what events can you name that were very remarkable? So they put a trace in your memory on the events that you had played or you had been to?
Well, there are some different things because I play in many different scenes. So, of course, a really important one is TanzFront. I played there 3 times, and next year is the 10 years of TanzFront. So, I recommend to everybody to go there because it's very important. I really do think it's a very important festival because you can see many different styles in industrial music and electronic music. And the people who organize this are really, they've got passion for good music. They don't choose because some big label asks them to choose that band, or they really choose what they like, and it's really interesting.
And do you believe there is a chance for such festivals as TanzFront to gather more people than they do now? Because 1,000, 1,000 and a half, which usually at TanzFront is actually not a big sum of, if you take all of the world.
Yeah, I think it can grow again, but I don't know if the organizer wants to that it grows or not. I'm not sure, because exactly for the same reason he's doing this, because he loves music. So it was already one step for him to, because at the beginning was in a smaller club in Aachen. So it was a good step for him to take this place with 1,500 people. But of course, if he continues and sees that everybody's really packed, maybe we'll look for something bigger. I'm sure there are more people who can come, and especially because a lot of people are coming from really far. So it's really international public, so it's quite interesting to see.
А каковы ваши планы на будущее, на выпуск первого диска, который уже многие ждут? На каком лейбле вы думаете выпускаться? И вообще, какую концепцию вы видите? И что бы вам хотелось, чтобы там было?
Ну, название уже придумано. Мы отобрали 13 треков. Сейчас идет запись вокала, потом, соответственно, сведение, мастер. Все это в домашних условиях. По поводу лейбла пока в поиске. Вот, потому что, возможно, будем и сам издат делать. Вот. Концепция альбома, в принципе, я это называю, как и концепция всего проекта, это на немецком «Sex Gewalt Krieg». То есть это секс, насилие, террор и... и, собственно, война. Это, собственно, тематика наших песен, текстов и, в принципе, музыки на данный момент. Вот. В принципе, да, так.
Ну хорошо, главное, что вы думаете над вашим будущим альбомом, что у вас уже какие-то есть идеи в голове, и мы очень ждем этого события, когда наконец...
Я тоже жду этого события, и надеюсь, это случится в ближайшие 3-4 месяца. Это зависит как бы от лейбла, вот. Через несколько недель у нас уже будет фотосет, соответственно. Вот, то есть делаем, работаем, надеемся, получится качественно и интересно.
Да, мы тоже надеемся. Спасибо.
Спасибо вам.
So, and you're releasing on the label at Noisem, and so it means that you mostly belong to the breakcore scene, but you're often invited to different industrial events. And do you believe in the collaboration of industrial and breakcore in the future? What do you think about that?
Well, it's kind of difficult because, I mean, at Noisem as a label is in itself so diverse. It has breakcore, it has hip-hop, it has every kind of form of not quite extreme music, but a lot of different kind of genres of music. And Nicholas from Ad Noisem is the kind of guy that is very interested in putting out different kinds of releases and not sticking to one kind of genre. The breakcore scene, I think, is starting to die a little now because I think in some ways breakcore is very kind of one track. It's all about chopping up beats and making it as extreme as possible. And in some ways it's like the death metal scene in the early 90s where everything was trying to be more brutal, trying to be faster, and after a while you reach a kind of point where it just becomes the same. But I see a lot of breakcore artists trying to kind of diversify now by, incorporating dubstep into their music, which of course is very fashionable at the moment. But I think the two scenes have always belonged together quite well because they both have a certain extremity to them, in the same way as some metal as well. It's all about aggression and expression, and that's the reason I think why breakcore artists and industrial artists or wherever, drum and bass as well, can play together in a festival and it seems consistent. There's not really any real problems. You wouldn't have, for example, some of the audience would come in and watch one band, but not the other. It all fits together, even though it sounds so different.
We know that you play often at the festival Infest in the United Kingdom, and what can you say about this festival? Is it popular among the foreigners, and what other events of that kind can you name in the United Kingdom, or what do you like more, what you don't like, and where do you want to go?
Okay, Infest is by far the biggest and the best industrial music festival in the UK. Last year was 10 years, so it was a bit of a celebration, and VMV Nation and Pop Team Berserk played because they're both very big, very popular bands in the UK, so they both kind of double headlined. I've been to every one. The first one there was about 200 people. Now it hits capacity, which is 1,200 people. It's held in a university, so the venue can't take any more people than that. So it's a great festival. Puts on some big name acts like Front 9 Assembly, VMV. It's had people like Nitzareb. This year we get Front 242 and One. So there's lots of quite big bands. It's kind of, I suppose, a bit more EBM than noise, but we get a real mix. You get synth pop, noise, industrial, EBM, electro. It's a whole range, and it's run by one of my best friends, and he tries to bring bands to the UK that are, one, popular, and two, haven't been heard in the UK before. So we get lots of bands that have never played the UK before, and it's really good. Lots of people love it. It's the big event of the year. In terms of what else we have in the UK, there was another festival in Edinburgh called Dark City, and Edinburgh's a very beautiful city. It's the Athens of the North. A lot of history, beautiful buildings. The venues that the event was in were very beautiful, like old caverns, haunted caverns and stuff like that. Beautiful student union buildings, all wood panelled. So the venues are fantastic, and some of the bands were good as well. It was kind of like a smaller version of Infest. Probably only had maybe 500 people, but last year we went and the organisation was not very good, and they're not running it this year. I think they don't make money, they don't break even, so it's not going to run. Apart from that, we have events in London twice a year, which are just one-day festivals like this is today, and that's called Electrofest. So they're the kind of three things, but Infest is by far the biggest.
The style of the music you play is mostly described as techno body music, which is getting more popular nowadays. And do you believe in the perspective of this style to stand in the same row with such kinds of harsh electronic sound as hard techno or hardcore or more popular styles?
I've produced techno for a long time, and elements from techno I can find now in this genre. So I think maybe in the future the scenes melt together. I'm not sure, but the music is very similar. But I think a lot of people aren't very open-minded. If you would tell a goth what you're listening now is techno and not EBM, he wouldn't listen to it. Maybe I'm not sure, but I think a lot of people aren't that open-minded as they maybe should.
You mostly perform on various EBM and gothic events more than on these special industrial events. But what style is more close for you? What culture and scene?
I think there's not a big difference in culture. It's only in the music. I know most industrial bands don't like bands like Nose of X, Xotox, and so on, because I think it's only popular, or we do it only for the money, which is totally stupid. You can't be rich with such a music. So I only produce the music I like, and I don't care if no one likes it, or if thousands like it. It doesn't make a difference for me. But the sales with club-orientated industrial are better than this. How can this? Everything is destroyed industrial where you can't dance to. So. The sales are not as good as the sales from Xotox or Comic Christ and so on, and maybe that's a big a problem. I don't think that that I will ever play on a real industrial festival because the people don't want to have me there. I think so. It's. So I'm more EBM influenced. My music is a mixture. I produce, as I said, techno for a long time. So I'm influenced by techno and EBM and a lot of other kinds of styles, and I mix them together. So it's not pure industrial. I'm choosing some elements from industrial, but there's no track you really can call this is absolutely noise or industrial. Also, it's always only a mixture, a hybrid, so to say.
It's always the collaboration between different styles that makes this music unique. Yes. So I agree with you at that point. So I think that will be all for tonight. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.